Hi everyone, welcome to Embodied Enlightenment. I am Carrie Merriam, and as always, I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. And Alex, thank you so much for being here. I have the most amazing human being across the table from me. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So Alex T. Steffen is a business consultant. He is a best-selling author and an award-winning presenter. He is formerly a director of show quality at Disney, and his professional focus is innovation management and the future of work. His mission is to make transformation more joyful for leaders, and he works with businesses such as Mercedes, AirBnB, and a variety of other digital ecosystems and innovative communities. He is the co-founder of Growth Masters, an invite-only adventure mastermind, which combines crowdsourced coaching and accountability systems to push entrepreneurs to the next stage in their business. And that is exactly what we are going to connect with today, bringing conscious thought into conscious action around accountability systems by balancing the feminine and masculine within us all. Again, Alex, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I'm super excited.
I can see that. I can see that within your face. You look like a little boy in a candy store, which is always a good thing. So when someone approaches you and they are ready to take their business to the next level, how do you start to bring about that energy and that conversation? What are the first stages to kind of dive into that before you even recognize what's out of balance to bring it into balance?
I feel like most things aren't actually too much out of balance. Often it's just a stage where people have confusion, because essentially business is a skill to learn, right? And growth in general, also personal growth, is something we don't just have because we saw the right movie or we read the right book. It's something you experience and you grow in slowly. So we have to make certain experiences, we have to meet certain people, we have to read certain books, we have to get experiences that will get us there. And each person is at a different stage when they encounter certain people, right? And I see myself as a facilitator who can just connect one more dot in the puzzle of what it means to grow your business or grow yourself, right? So the main thing I try to do is to listen. Because that's what gets me to clarity, right? And that's what often gets the people that I'm talking to clarity. And then the second stage is often to create a form of experience, and often that would entail storytelling, in order to bring about realization. Before there's any type of coaching or any type of consulting or any type of advice happening, because I feel like at the outset you need to have an experience and you need to be able to speak, right? To share your thoughts, the complexity of what makes you you, right? That's how I would go about usually.
And the complexity of what makes you you in storytelling I find so fascinating, because what I believe, and I would love to get your thoughts on this, is when you tell stories, the brain knows no different. So if you're telling a story of an experience that you've witnessed within the past realm of your experience of the now, you're actually activating the same physiological responses within your body. So you're bringing about the same stress, the same emotional reactions. So is that stagnating your actual expansion of self? Is that keeping you limited within your business growth?
Yes and no. The way I understand this question is, there's so many ways to get about this. So the way I see the world is, the more experiences you can have, the more solutions you can come up with. And as you said, those experiences could be imaginative. Me telling you a story or you telling me a story, and then our brain going and creating almost like a journey in our head where we just experiencing this, right? With pictures, with smells, with whatever we need to have this full experience. Or us actually spending the most time we possibly can creating new experiences, actual experiences. That's why this is very important to me for my own learning, and also when I bring about learning in masterminds and on stage, etc. So I had the luxury and I gave myself the luxury too of traveling a lot. I feel like we should all get more traveling, especially on our own, where we then get out of what we know and get into a new context. Because picture this, you're traveling with your best friend and you get out there, you take, let's say, a train and you travel somewhere. You're still going to have the conversations that you're comfortable with most of the time with that particular friend, right? The moment you travel on your own, you don't have anything to hold on to, especially when you're far away, but you just exposed to things that you don't know. And suddenly you will have new synapses formed and new solutions to what your mind already knows. And that's innovation in itself. Innovation for yourself, innovation for when you talk to other people. Because when we speak to other people, we're creating opportunities for them, right? Just normal conversations without any coaching intent or anything. We have the possibility to bring in new ideas so they can grow and the web just keeps expanding, right? So for me, experiences are the main way of learning. And then, like you said, we can have them imagine it like dreams or like stories created, or we can get ourselves as often as possible out there and actually have them. Both work really well, I think.
I think both work extremely well, but it's so specific of the individual, of where they are within their personal development journey and how they are perceiving all of the experiences they are witnessing, right? You know, an experience that one person could have the same exact, a replica of that individual could experience the same thing, and it would be a different story.
And there's a cool tool, excuse me, there's a cool tool that I like to use when I tell stories, or when I use certain memories that I lay out to convey any point, right, any idea, that anybody can use and replicate to communicate better and to integrate into your communication some type of, let's say, a more present, more aware way of speaking. And that is to structure your storytelling, or to structure your way of communicating from simple to complex. So rather than say, 2 years ago, I was traveling through the countryside of Brazil when I encountered a shaman, and that shaman told me story XYZ. That's a lot of information with a lot of contextual stuff that people need to use to create the story in their heads, right? Maybe they haven't met a shaman before. Maybe they're still in the process of thinking about what they did 2 years ago when you were already at the next kind of component of this part of the story. Maybe they've never had a chance to look at pictures or be in Brazil. So the mind has a bit of difficulty to follow. Our brain's incredible, so it can do it, but it's almost like we are keeping our brain in the first gear, and we're thinking through those individual things slowly. That's at least how I perceive it when I do it. So instead of doing that, I would actually communicate slower, and I would be like, have you ever traveled to Brazil? And then there's a box ticked. No, I haven't. Well, then I might just go in and say, so Brazil's beautiful because it has amazing cities that are partly very modern, partly super traditional, but it also has the rainforest and this and that, and it has the sea, and then there's pictures built, right? And then so it so happened that 2 years ago I was in Brazil, right? And when I was traveling there on the train, and then everybody can relate to the train, right? So they already know about Brazil, they know about the train, and then I suddenly bump into this shaman. A shaman is a person that, and so on, right? So the story builds, and following is so much easier, and the rapport, so the ability to go back and forth and share the experience. So that's how I try to do it, and by that, hopefully get the person to be sharing more, to become more vulnerable.
To be more open.
Yeah, for sure.
And receptive.
And I feel that anybody can use this at any time, because we're eager to share what we have inside, right? But by that, we become so quick. And if we want to focus on the other person, then it's best to kind of go with their speed, right? If we notice that person can take in much more information, well, then I speed up, right? Then I become more complex. But I first give them a chance to see where they are, right?
Brilliant. I love it. So accountability systems. Let's shift the conversation there. Are there specific accountability systems that you implement, or is it individualized?
You mean when I do coaching? It's very, very individualized. So there's one uniform thing that I believe works, which is getting people into new connections with the specific objective to have accountability happen in the future. So I co-organize this mastermind with my business partner, and we go to crazy locations. We have 3 to 10 day events called masterminds, and we go out and do crazy stuff like extreme adventures, and then we also sit down and work on people's business.
And is this only for men?
No, this is no.
Because I think it would be such a different experience for a feminine woman versus a very masculine man to be in that energetic environment.
What we believe in, and this is a very strong point for us, this experience naturally, because it has a business aspect we've woven into it, and because it has extreme adventures into it, it naturally attracts more men. But we've made it a point right from the start to have both genders present, because we believe that if it's just a group of men, it has a certain dynamic. If it's just a group of women, it has a certain dynamic, right? And that might be perfect for certain objectives, right? Women's retreat has a certain objective, right? We want it both because we see the power of both to support the other. So female energy grounds male energy, and male energy grounds female energy in their own specific ways, right? So every mastermind, we make sure that we have both as much as we can balance them out, right? Because we also select the members, so you have to apply. And then when you apply, we try to match the profiles of people, where they are in their business, where they are in their lives, right? What kind of profile they have, best we can, right? And then that's one way, right? Where we bring together a group, and right from the outset, people know that this group is not just there for 3 days for the experience, but they're going to be a tribe for as long as they possibly can, and we're going to facilitate this tribe. And by that, they keep each other accountable, because right at the end of the experience, we make accountability videos where a person talks to the camera. So this content is out there, but it only is available for the tribe. So we don't share, we don't share it outside, so people can share as much as they possibly can. And we've made sure that they get very vulnerable in the experience, right? So they share their objectives for the next 6 weeks to about 5 months, and then they can execute so much easier because they have the support of other people that want them to succeed, right? It's like brothers and sisters. People get really, really close. You know some of those people, right? And they interact, and they get so happy about seeing the other person take that next step that they might pull up the video 5 weeks later, send it to that person, and be like, hey, by the way, I see, point 2, you wanted to work on your health more, and you wanted to maybe gain some weight to have a healthier experience. What's up with that? So where are you at right now? Even though we have busy days of each of us, that person would take the initiative and ask the other person, and that's accountability combined with so much compassion and love and companionship. I adore this. I love it so much.
You're curating community consciousness, which is a direct gateway to personal development and personal consciousness. And even from an energetic vibrational standpoint, you're tying those individuals together from a subconscious perspective for them to show up for one another because of the energy that's merging.
Yeah. But then specifically...
Sneaky.
Yeah, it's all engineered. I mean, I'm a big fan of things like NLP, etc. People might call some of that stuff like manipulation. I call it smart ways of using your human capacity. And if we face it, be honest, everybody's using the right words to get the right things from each other, right? And why not use this with an intention to be helpful and be positive about it, rather than be evil, right? But get the maximum out of each situation. For the whole, for both, or for how many people might be there, right? But yeah, specifically for different genders, I feel like you can target the way that we operate, male and female. We operate differently.
We do?
Certainly. And then strategically use different accountability. Let's say methods or systems, not even systems. Most of this is so customized. I feel like it's more of a situational thing. But I would, because women are generally more empathetic, I would talk to a woman that I see would benefit from executing in a certain way, executing on her plans in a certain way, I would talk completely differently than to a guy. So with guys, there's an interesting dynamic happening where we don't have a hard time becoming buddies quickly, right? And if you leverage that buddiness, then you can achieve a lot. And with women, you could target something, for example, the empathy part, this strong love for creating for others, creating abundance for others, and target that specific aspect of, let's say, their being. And by that, you're strategically leveraging what the person or the personality is stronger at, let's say, or has out there already anyways. And I feel that has a lot of benefit. Because if I try to, and this is not just black and white, right? But if I try to use the, let's say, the rather male approach on a woman, I might just not be as successful at accomplishing her, for example, to step into that accountability and love doing what she promised herself to do, right? So yeah, so I'm trying best to customize.
Yeah, there's no formula, there's no strategy, right? It's so about connecting with the individual and understanding where they're at and helping them move from there. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
If there's one thing that you need the viewers to hear right now from you, what would that be?
There's one thing, if I hear a question like this, there's just one thing that comes to my mind. My granddad, he passed away a couple of years ago. I love this guy. So he had this book. He had this book where it's more like a notebook maybe. He wrote in it, he loved history. He wrote into his book all the significant historical dates that he would then bring up months or weeks or years later in conversation, so he could reference back at the important information, right? So he wouldn't have to, pull out a history book and flip through it, but he had his specific information at hand whenever he needed it, right? So I would go through that book with him, and I would love it. I was a kid and just curious about history. I'd love it. And he taught me something. I have two older brothers. He taught us one thing that we all agree we'll never forget, which is he always combined in his being joy and diligence. So he would, every time we parted ways or every time something important happened, he said, don't forget, be joyfully diligent. And it's such a beautiful thing that resonates a lot with me, to combine this working hard for your success, but at the same time having fun doing it and just delving in and enjoying it while you were experiencing it, right? And that's the whole, to me, that's the whole meaning of life. It's like not slacking, because ambition fulfills me personally with a lot of happiness, but at the same time not just stressing about and just doing the just doing the work and never enjoying it. It's the mix of both. So joyfully diligent, it's another way of saying it is, I love that. I sometimes use this at the end of presentations. This comes from someone and I forgot, but it's very short. It's make it fun, but make it count. Same meaning for me. Joyfully diligent.
Beautiful. Alex, where can people find you and how can people apply to your program?
So there's two ways. I have a personal website, which is more focused on company innovation, organizational transformation. That's my consulting work. That's alextsteffen.com. My Growth Masters, the company I run with my buddy, which is the Masterminds, that's growthmasters.me. And then all social profiles are the same. It's Alex T. Steffen, Steffen. That's where you can find me, and hopefully be in touch.
Brilliant. Well, Alex, again, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much.
Such a wealth of knowledge. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Go over to iTunes. Make sure you give Alex and I some love. Give us some feedback, and let us know how you're holding yourself accountable to transform and to grow your business in the most optimal way. This has been Carrie Merriam with Embodied Enlightenment.